Hey, good morning, Vinyl community. It is Sunday morning in Trenton, Ontario. I guess it's Sunday morning everywhere, except for Australia. And it's Glenn Kellaway coming to you from the basement. I wanted to do a few vinyl finds that have come into the basement over the last few days. But before I start, I was really saddened by the news to hear that one of my favorite roots artists had passed away at the age of 62. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this gentleman, Joe Phelps. Wonderful guitarist, talented guy, great voice, like a smoky, bluesy voice. He played a lot of acoustic blues, slide, but he also played a lot of kind of folky type stuff. Just a wonderful, wonderful performer. 62 years old. I think he stopped performing. Kelly Joe came down with some medical issues. I think physical issues with his hands and stuff. And about over the last 10 or 15 years, and he stopped performing. He stopped recording records. He has probably a discography of about 5 or 6 albums, and they're all wonderful. I'm going to show them to you. I'm going to try and play a bit of a song. I hope I don't get a copyright infringement. I think I'll be okay. But anyway, Kelly Joe passed at 62. I'm not sure how his life ended, but I'm just really sad that it did. He's one of my favorite artists, and I hope you'll check him out. There's a kind of a cool picture of Kelly Joe with his guitar there. Let me play a couple of, just a bit of a tune here, and then we'll talk for a second.
Sidewalk coughed up weeds and cracks, a book and magazine, and a penny and a dime. Old man car looked behind him, making sure the scene was empty. Breathe a sigh of bewilderment, knowing that it was. Not that he expected to see me coming up with a brown boy with a box of daffodils. Feeling that quiet bruised his ears, forced him into alleys where the gravel crunch was friendly, under polished on heels, under polished on heels. Steps on St. Andrew seem the best bet. Catch a little shut-eye on, need a good sweat song. Bleed a little bit inside, find him in the morning, hunker down like a derelict, mustard on his chin. Concrete froze his ass through the holes in his pants. Our winter's not the best time to make a martyr's point. The car caught the corner where the wind wouldn't get him, and he absent-mindedly spun the ring around his finger within his thumb. With his thumb. Tomcat screams like a baby in the back lot. Oh, just as Carl's dreams kick in tight. Light keeps stuttering hailstones between the boughs of a maple. So many voices in one man mind. Yet he starts to see the fool behind the windshield, wounded on a steering wheel, another year. Trying hard to catch the jet stream, make the flying easy, only grabbing hunger for another man's life.
I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm just a huge fan. That was from an album called Slingshot Professionals. Highly recommend this album. My favorite album of Kelly Joe's. If you like acoustic blues, you got to hear this album. It's incredible. Lead Me On. This was my introduction to Kelly Joe. I used to frequent this used bookstore in the West End of Toronto and go in, and the guy there was pretty a cool guy. We were about the same age, and we had the same taste in music. And he started to sell used CDs, and he got a box of CDs in, and we were going through them, and this one was in the box. Kelly Joe Phelps, Lead Me On, and we pulled it out and went, well, I wonder what this guy's like, because it was kind of an intriguing cover with the slide bar and the guy holding the acoustic. So started looking at it, and what drew my attention to it was it said it was recorded at Dead Aunt Thelma's. Which right away I went, this has got to be cool. So I bought it off him for like $1 or something and went home and was just blown away. It's an incredible record and was a fan ever since. I got a chance to see Kelly Joe perform, and just a wonderful performer, talented man. So sad he's gone. So please check out Kelly Joe Phelps. Okay, vinyl finds. I've got a few CDs, some records. So let's start with the CDs. I think if you watched Canadian Stud Muffin's stuff yesterday on the records that he just got, he mentioned that him and I made a little exchange with my Caravan box set. And Larry, part of the deal was these 3 CDs. You know, I'm on a Bowie kick. So I got 2 live Bowie albums, which I haven't heard yet, and I'm really excited to hear them, though. Serious Moonlight, David Bowie. That is live 1983. And David Bowie, another live. Okay, I can't get the thing out. Of course, there it is. The Glass Spider Live Montreal, 87. Very cool. Recorded in Montreal. And last but not least, the one I'm kind of most excited about because I love this album. I have it on vinyl. This was originally part of a CD exchange between Larry and I. XTC's The Black Sea. I had never heard it before. And I immediately fell in love with it. A couple of days after Larry and I exchanged it, I was in the used record store and found it used for like $10 and bought it and just played it and played it. It's a great record. The Black Sea XTC. This is the deluxe edition that came out with the 5.1 surround remix by Steven Wilson. It's just an absolutely great record. There's a song on here that I just love. It's called... what was it about Cuba? Living Through Another Cuba, which I think is cool. It's got this infectious drum beat and rhythm to it. And let me see, it reminds me of listening to Ricky Ricardo do Bubbaloo. It's kind of like that kind of infectious beat, you know? Anyway, XTC, Black Sea. Thank you, Larry, for doing that exchange. Okay, what did I pick up? On suggestion from Sam St. John a while ago, he was going on and on about the new John Mellencamp album that came out early this year. Something in the One-Eyed Jacks. I'm sorry I don't have it with me. I've showed it before. But it blew my mind how good it was. It's so good. I'm a big fan of Dylan's Rough and Rowdy Ways album. Probably one of my top 5 Dylan albums of all time now. And I just love that whole feel of it and his voice. And this record's very much like that. So if you like Tom Waits, if you like, even some Louis Armstrong and Dylan, You got to hear the new Mellencamp, something One-Eyed Jacks, but you can find it. It's got a painting he did himself with a patch over his eye. It's a very good record. But anyway, Sam also suggested this one, which I think was the previous one to that, and it's called Plain Spoken. This is really good too. It's all acoustic songs and just really on a great record. Really, if you like John Mellencamp but you like acoustic music, these are great. On my prog journey, one of the bands I fell in love with was Vandergraaf Generator. I have a couple of their albums, but one album that was recommended to me and I've had it on my bucket list for a while is God Bluff. The other two albums that I have is Pawn Hearts and I can't think of what the other one is now, but they're a heavy listen. They're not. You really got to keep listening and listening and listening to appreciate them. But I found God Bluff used. I was quite surprised I found it, and it is freaking awesome. Like I just really found something interesting in it from the first time I heard it, and I think it's going to be a favorite album of mine. God Bluff, Vandergraaf Generator. Check them out. Okay, now some vinyl. I'm a big Zappa fan, but one thing I'm short of is Zappa on vinyl. I have Apostrophe, Overnight Sensation, Zoot Allures, The Mother's 1971 at the Fillmore, One Size Fits All, and I think that's about it. Now, I had a chance the other day to pick up a reissue of Freak Out, mint condition to me, VG++ anyway. Great shape. I got it at my favorite record store in the world, Zap Records in Coburg, Ontario. My friend Tim had it on the shelf. $29.99, I think, for a Zap album is pretty darn good. There's the label. Double album. One of the essential albums, as far as I'm concerned, of all time. Arguably the first double album ever released in the rock genre. That and Blonde on Blonde came out pretty much the same time. But I just love that album. I was so excited to get it on vinyl. And another one I picked up for $10. And it wasn't one of my favorite Zappa albums, but I listened to it when I got it home, and I like it a bit more. There's some stuff on there I'm not crazy about, but it's not bad. Joe's Garage, this is volume 1. It's in VG shape, good shape. There's the Zappa label. So that's kind of what I've been picking up. So that's about it for the day. Kelly Joe Phelps really bummed me out. If you get a chance to listen, please listen if you like the track I played. Oh, I got one more I forgot here. Hold on a second. Rush. Always been intrigued with this album, even when I wasn't a big Rush fan. It's called Feedback, and it's Rush covering all the songs that they really were inspirational in their success when they were young. They cover Summertime Blues, Heart Full of Soul, For What It's Worth, The Seeker, Mr. Soul, 7 and 7 Is, Shapes of Things, and Crossroads. I would say some of these songs are really done well. I think the star of the show is Alex Lifeson, because he brings life to a lot of these songs that just plays a little bit heavier guitar and has a few little different riffs and everything that make it really interesting. I think Geddy Lee, probably his voice isn't a match for some of these tunes, but he does his best and does a fine job. And for the drumming, I mean, Ringo could have drummed on this album. These songs don't lend themselves to Neil Peart style drumming, but Alex Lifeson's playings on here is really impressive, and it's kind of a cool record. I kind of liked it. Rush, Feedback. So again, that's it. Kelly Joe, rest in peace. I'm so sorry that you passed, and thanks for leaving us with some great music. I hope everyone has a great Sunday. Thanks a lot. Take care.